And all right, hello everyone. Hello, and thanks so much for joining us for our webinar today. So I'm Cameron from Teachable. I'm going to be looking at your moderator today, and I'm really excited that you are all able to join me. So just my first request before we get into this and before we introduce our speaker, I would love to actually just let me know in the chat when you can see us and hear us. So if you could all just let us know in the chat when you can see us and hear us. Now, I actually ask this because, Nicole, I had a really bad experience once upon a time. Now, you told me just now before we started that you've done a lot of lives before, so I hope that you might have, maybe something like this has happened to you. It was one of like my first ever webinars, and I was actually kind of confident because I'd like done a few successfully, and I thought that everything was going really well, and like I was sharing my slides, I was going through the presentation. Then like 10 minutes back in, like I go and I look at the chat, and everyone is informing me that I have been sharing like the wrong screen like the whole time. Like I'd been sharing like my desktop background, and I've been like, and today you're gonna get this amazing Teachable. Like it was horrible. So I always ask at the beginning. Looking at the chat, it looks like everyone can see and hear us. And Nicole, I have to say, you have a fairly diverse audience. Like people are coming from all over. I asked where people are tuning in from, and I saw like Virginia, Hawaii, so joining us pretty early, I think, in the day. California, Mexico, Indiana, New Jersey, Idaho, Oklahoma, Missouri, and more. So I love that to have folks tuning in from all over. Now, just a quick logistical note before I turn this over to Nicole. I just want to quickly share my screen with a pretty important logistical thing here. So I'm just going to share my screen. Do-do-do-do. So you're watching the webinar today. You're looking at a screen that looks something like this. Now, if things are a little bit blurry, like a little bit hard to see, just hit the settings gear and then change the quality to 720p, the highest quality. And if things are a little bit small or hard to read, not a problem. Just hit the full screen button to go full screen. Just do note that to go back to the chat or ask any questions, you will have to exit the full screen to ask or to view any responses. And the last note I'll say. So please ask your questions during the webinar. Go ahead, and I'll be keeping an eye on them, and I'll be keeping jotting them down. Now what I do want to say though, no such thing as a bad question, but I will answer one big question right now. There will be a replay. You will get a replay. It will go to you automatically. It will go to you for free. It will go to your email. You're going to get that automatically. So the one question that I want your help with, if you see someone in the chat be like, is there going to be a replay? Let them know, yes, Cam said there was going to be a replay. And now with all that, I'd love to turn over the presentation to Nicole, who's going to tell us all about selling your clothing on Poshmark. I'm excited to see this one. My girlfriend's actually done this a little bit, so I'm excited to learn some pro tips. Maybe I can surprise her and be like, "Ooh, look what I learned."
Thanks, Cameron. So you have a Poshmark closet?
I don't really know too much other than like she said that she like made like $80 or something selling something on Poshmark,
Look
but
at
that's about as much as I know about it.
That's fantastic. I love that. Poshmark is one of the fastest growing apps for fashion out there right now. If you go to the App Store, the iPhone App Store, it's actually number 11 today. I kind of keep track of that to see where they're trending and how things are going over there. So it's very, very quickly growing. There is millions of users at this point, and it is a great site or app or whatever you want to call it to sell your secondhand clothing. And a lot of us, I know right now, we're stuck at home with everything that's going on in the world. A lot of people are looking for a way to either work from home or just bring in a little extra income for whatever it is that you want to do. There are people who are doing this just to take a vacation with their family once a year, or there are people like me who do it full time, and I can completely pay my bills at this point with selling secondhand clothing on Poshmark, which is really wild to think about. So thank you guys for joining me today. I'm really excited to be here, and I have been, just a little background about myself, I've been a full-time reseller. So I've been selling clothing specifically for the last 5 years full-time. I quit my job actually at the end of September 5 years ago. So it's almost my anniversary. And first I was selling on a site called eBay, which is probably like broadly known a little bit more than Poshmark. But as I started to see the markets change, I saw a huge opportunity with Poshmark. One of the things I want to talk about today is actually why I think Poshmark is the best site to sell secondhand clothing if you're going to get into this. One of the big reasons is that it's not as saturated as other sites, and they really have a focus on fashion, which is a huge plus, right? You want to go to that niche market, find that area, and spread yourself out there. So that's what I do. I sell on Poshmark. To date, I have sold over $150,000 over the last 2 years, and we have sold its profit around 140 is what Poshmark has actually paid me. So after Poshmark fees and everything, and we'll break that down a little bit. So that's who I am. I'm also a mother of 2 and a wife, and I do manage all of that on top of selling full-time at home. I have a YouTube channel where I teach other people how to sell, and I just created my first course, which was really exciting for me here on Teachable. I am so thankful for you guys. We have over 2,000 students at this point, and I'm just really excited that I can give people an option to make a little bit of money at home. Who doesn't love that? So thanks for joining. Let's kind of dive in to talking about everything Poshmark. So first off, how do you start selling on Poshmark? That is the #1 question I get from people is like, well, I have this stuff. I have extra clothes, I have some home goods, like what am I gonna do? You can give it to Goodwill, you can give it to a charity, or you can spend a few minutes posting it online and sell it yourself. So to get started on Poshmark, you honestly do not need very much, and that's the great part of it. So if you have a cell phone, and you have a way to print. Those are the 2 big things that you're gonna need. So you're gonna need some sort of printer, or maybe you go to the library to print, whatever it is, you can make it work, right? There's really no excuses. If you have a cell phone, you can make extra money. So what I do to start is I would go through your closet. A lot of people immediately want to go out and thrift things or know brands to buy that sell really well. But starting out, just go to your closet. Go to your closet. Everyone has a lot of additional items in their closet that they're not wearing anymore, if you're honest with yourself. Also, you want to clean out that clutter. If it doesn't bring you joy, that's like the whole thing right now. Get rid of it. So what you're going to do, go to your closet, find a few things that you no longer want to wear. Then you're going to take some photos of those things, list them on Poshmark. I'm going to walk you guys through how to build a listing. And that's about it. There is no secret recipe here. It's all just about getting your items listed and being consistent with that. And on Poshmark, there are some tips and tools that you can use to kind of boost yourselves. But if you list it, Poshmark is great at marketing and advertising. If it's something somebody wants, it's going to sell. So you really don't need much. And the barrier to entry into this business is honestly probably the lowest of any sort of side hustle or side gig that you can do. You don't need to buy anything new. Everything is already here. And once you start making money, then if you wanted to, you can put that money back into your business to grow it. So a few things about reselling in case you guys don't know this, and why it's kind of like a good time to get into reselling. Reselling is expected to grow 5x over the next 5 years. And retail is actually shrinking. So in 2019 alone, resale grew 25 times faster than any other retail sector, which is crazy. So resale grew 49% and traditional retail grew 2%. 2%. So the time to get into reselling is now. We are just at that base of growing. So if you're thinking it's too late, too many people are already doing it, that's just not true. We're just now exploding. So this is a great, great time to get into it. Another question I get pretty often is like, nobody wants that stuff. Who is going to buy a used pair of shoes? Who is shopping for this stuff? I don't understand. Is there actually a market for this? 4 in 5 people currently say that they're open to shopping secondhand. That's huge. That's a huge amount. So 4 in 5 people are open to shopping secondhand right now. 79%, sorry, I'm looking through my stats right now, 79% of consumers say they're going to be cutting their apparel budget over the next 12 months, but they're still willing to spend. They still want to get quality items for less. So that's why they're looking at the resale market. Reselling is very trendy as well. I know I follow a lot of like bloggers and fashion people, and everyone is talking about reselling. It's not just great for your wallet, it's also really great for the environment. So overall, if you're thinking about getting into reselling and thinking, is it going to work? The stats are proof. This is the time to start selling. It's not too late. So let's talk about how to build a listing on the site. So it's pretty easy and basic. I'm going to go ahead and share my feed here. Well, let's see here. We will screen share. Before we screen share though, I just want to say hi to everyone in the chat and ask if there is anyone in the chat who isn't currently reselling. Is there anyone out there who is brand new, or is everyone here kind of already reselling and just here to learn a little bit more? And while we talk about that, I will get my screen share ready. So if you guys have never been on the Poshmark app, this is what it's going to look like here. Perfect. So there is some brand new. Anna, hello. I'm so glad to see that there's some brand new people in here. Okay, hopefully it is sharing now. It's failed to start.
So, yeah, I wasn't seeing it.
I'm getting an error from Zoom. Sorry, guys.
It's okay. This is how folks know that this is live, because this, in real life, people have Zoom errors. So, Nicole, if you do you want to quickly, briefly quit Zoom and come back? And in the meantime, I'll do stand-up comedy or something similarly
Do a little
entertaining.
dance for us, please. Thanks.
All right, Nicole will be back in just a second. In the meantime, folks, I appreciate you sticking with us. And I'm actually kind of curious if you want to let me know in the chat if y'all have run into something like this before during these coronavirus times where, you know, stuff has maybe gone a little bit wrong using Zoom. But in the meantime, it's kind of cool seeing all the answers in the chat. You know, folks who are experienced resellers, people who have been reselling since 2003, people who have been here for 6 months. So it's like we've got all sorts of experience levels on this, which is one of the cool things about doing these workshops. All right, Nicole, we're back. Any luck with the screen sharing?
Let me try. I just got back in. Let me see if it will work now. Hopefully. There we go. Ah, is it working? Can you see it?
Yep, beautiful.
Okay, so you guys should just be able to see the Poshmark feed right now. So I will quickly walk you through what Poshmark looks like. So when you log into Poshmark, this is kind of going to be the first thing you see. This is your Poshmark feed. So you're gonna see people you follow, other people's new listings, new listings available of brands that you searched from before. This one always gets me. I always end up shopping from this, honestly. This is a trick here. But for you, your closet's going to be over here at the top, and Poshmark calls it a closet. So it's not just like a store. That's kind of their catchphrase, is your Poshmark closet. So you can go and view your closet from right up here. And this is what my closet currently looks like. You can see that I've listed around 10,000 lifetime listings, and how many shares and followers and all of that. And I'll briefly touch on these in a second. But these are my current active listings. These are some shoes that I listed last night, and I want to walk you guys through the art of what a listing should look like. So first and foremost, your photos are louder than anything else. at the end of the day, you want to have good, clean photos. Now, does that mean that you need a professional light setup? No. If you have a phone, a modern smartphone, it's going to take clear enough photos that you're going to be fine. What I would recommend is having a little bit of natural light and then a white background if possible. So if you have a white wall that you can maybe put a hanger on, or you have a clean floor, whatever it is, you want a nice clean background. You don't want to distract your potential buyers from shopping with you by having a lot of stuff in your photos. So try and find a nice clean background, and then from there take as many photos as you possibly can. Poshmark is going to allow you to put in, I believe it's 12 now, so a ton of photos, and that is going to speak so much louder than anything else. Next, you're going to build out your description, and here's one that I've already done. You're going to take your title, start with the brand, and then put in some good description. So whatever you can think about these boots is what you would put into here. You're not going to put the size or any, like, you don't want to put things like new or used. Poshmark gives people that information in other places. This is really just the title. So think about a title of a book. When you are looking at the title of a book, is it also going to be like 385 pages and this is a new book and this was released in 2018? No, that's not going to be in the title. You're building a title. You're just going to put descriptive words in that title. And then from there, in your description down there, you can start to put all of that other information. So you're going to, for SEO reasons, you want to go ahead and copy your title and put it into your description as your first line. And then from there, go ahead and just put some more details. So this has an almond style toe, it's lined in leather, all of that good stuff that you can think about. The piece that you're listing is what you're going to be putting in your description. Next is you want to put, like, is it new? Is it used? What's going on with it? So let's say you do have a, say this boot had a big scuff on the side. I would definitely take time to A, take really good photos of that scuff, and then B, also make sure I put it in my listing. Hey, there is a 1/4 inch scuff on the right shoe on the outside of it. Please see picture number 4 for exact detail. Really let people know what the shoe or what the item has a flaw. That is the biggest thing. You want to under promise, over deliver, right? So make sure that you are really highlighting this, make it seem worse than it actually is. That way when they get it, they're pleasantly surprised. You want to have good customer service. And then lastly, you want to put your sizes. So this is a size 40.5. I went ahead and I looked on their actual size chart. I did not take a guess. I went to Alexander Wang's size chart. I made sure that it wasn't the equivalent of a US 10.5. And I went from there. So I hope all that helps and makes sense. Now let's look at what the listing template looks like if you're going to come on here and list. So first off, you can do this all from your phone, but it's not easy to Zoom share my phone. So we're going to be doing it on the desktop. And I already put some photos in here for us. So this is the skirt that we're going to be listing today. And you can get the item photos to your laptop or desktop anyway. And then if you were doing this from your phone, obviously you would just upload the photos into the listing. So we've uploaded our photos. Hopefully everyone can kind of know how to do that already. And I also, when I'm taking photos, I will put the measurements and my inventory number in a photo to make my life easier. So I just can sit down at my desk and get my listing done. I'm not going back and forth with, okay, so I photographed all these items and now they're in a bucket and now I'm going to measure them while I'm listing. I just get that all out of the way so I can sit down at my desk and get the items listed. So we've done all the legwork already and now we're going to get it listed. So this skirt is by the brand ALC. So that's the first thing I'm going to be putting in my title. So ALC. And then what is this skirt? So this is a maxi skirt and it is a blue knit. And obviously it has this like weird detail, and that is where things can get tricky and people get stuck and they get frustrated and they kind of just give up. So they have this weird piece of clothing and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. Don't get stuck. It's okay. Just do your best. Getting it listed is more important than having it be perfect at the end of the day. Just get your item listed. So for this, I'm just going to put layered look. So layered, like mini skirt. And that's going to be it. I'm not going to get stuck. I'm not going to let myself get overwhelmed. We're going to go from there. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. And I use a template that I've already built out for my listing. So I do have someone who helps me at this point, and what she does is she copies and pastes this template in and then kind of fills stuff out, and then I just put the rest of the info in. But let's say this wasn't here. So we would go ahead and paste the title right there, and then put any other details. So this is a new with tag skirt, and it is a, let's see, what fabric is this? So the fabric isn't important. If it was a fancy fabric, like a wool or a cashmere or something like that, I'd want to put that in my listing, but no one really cares about polyester. So, you know, use your judgment there. So new with tags, and this is a blue, it's a heavier knit. So I'm going to put that heavier knit, elastic waist, maxi skirt with a layered look. And this is a woman size medium, and then I can put measurements from there as well. So waist laying flat, if you already have these, you're just going to put them in. That's 15.5 inches, so 15.5 inches. And then the length on outer skirt, because there's obviously two skirts here, is 36 inches. And that is going to be about it for this listing. So after I have that information, some people like to also do things like keywords. So let's say for this skirt, you could put fall or winter. You could put a bunch of keywords at the bottom here, and that is going to help with your SEO, search engine optimization results. Poshmark, when someone searches for something, it actually pulls from the entire description, which is crazy. So a lot of people will do things like just put popular brands in their keywords. Please don't do that. It's actually really obnoxious when people try to search for something and then things are coming up that actually don't meet that criteria. So I know that a lot of people will do that. Please don't. Please don't. So just put words that are going to fit in with whatever you're listing. So you could put navy blue, you could put fall, winter, you could put blogger style, whatever kind of words you think people might be searching. So think about when you search, right? What are you coming up with? If you were looking for a skirt that looked like that, what would you say? Whatever you would say is what you're going to be putting into your listing. And that's going to be it. This number down here is my inventory number, which is a whole nother section. We go deep into that in the actual course. And from here, we're going to go ahead and just name this a maxi skirt, size medium. Does it have the tags? Yes, it does. Am I going to add this to my boutique? This is where people also get stuck. So what is a boutique? What does that mean? Oh my gosh. So a boutique item is an item that was purchased directly from the distributor. So it was never at a store. So if you bought something, I bought this skirt from Nordstrom Rack. If you bought it from Nordstrom Rack, that means someone already had the opportunity to buy it and they didn't, you did. So this is not a boutique item. I would have had to buy this directly from ALC to call it a boutique item. And from there, we are going to just go ahead and price it. So what is the original price on this? I don't know. I could make an educated guess. I could go ahead and Google it to try and find it. The easiest thing to do, especially when you're starting out, is just to put 0. You don't have to know exactly how much something costs. Just put 0. And then how much do I want to list it for? And I'm going to show you kind of a trick to figuring out how much you should list something for. So go ahead and open up another Poshmark tab. We're back in our feed. And in listings, you can go ahead and search your listings. So we're going to search for ALC, the brand, and that's going to pull up the brand. So we're going to click on the brand here. Go. And then from there, we're going to go to women's skirts and a maxi skirt. And then go ahead and look at sold items. So what they've actually sold for. And this is going to give you a good idea of what you should be pricing your item at. So it is all over the place, right? Like you see some are selling for $20 and some are selling for $100. What are we going to price ours at? A few things to note. You can look at these listings and you can be like, well, they didn't have very good descriptions, so they probably didn't get in front of as many people. We want to look for the best one. So here we go. Here's a new tag, ALC metallic skirt with that high slit detail. This one sold for $180. So I'm going to actually look more at this pricing than some of these other pricings. So what I would do is I'm actually going to price mine at $150 because it's not quite as fancy as this. And that also gives. So we're going to go ahead and hit 149. This is what I will earn after Poshmark takes their fees. Poshmark makes it very straightforward of what you're actually going to get paid out. We will update our listing and list it, and that's it. So that is how you build a listing on Poshmark. Hopefully that's helpful. A few things to know. Once you've built your listing, there's a lot you can do to help your items sell. So if you go into your closet, I'm just going to quickly touch base on this. So sharing is how Poshmark you get in front of people. It's how their algorithm works. It's how your items are shown. So if I share this to my followers, I'm going to bump the item up in that brand. So you can see here is DKNY, right? Just shared, okay. So if someone looks for DKNY, this is the screen that's gonna show up. Now there you go. As soon as I hit share to my followers, give it a couple seconds, go back here, we can refresh and there's my jacket. So that's what sharing does on Poshmark, and that is really important to do for your listings. You want to share at least once a day all of your items, if not twice a day, and you need to do that manually. So there are a lot of services out there offered. Please don't use them. They are using bots. And services, I mean like not a VA that you're hiring directly, but like an automation service. Those are actually against the rules on Poshmark. Please don't use them. Your account can get suspended. And I know a lot of new people don't know that. They end up getting sucked in, and I don't want that to happen to you guys. So I hope that's helpful. Woo! And let's go ahead and stop the screen sharing for now. Do you guys in the chat have any questions about listing? I wasn't necessarily looking through all of the questions as I was sharing that. So if you do have questions, please feel free to ask them and I am happy to answer. But let's go back here. Let's see here. Okay, so the other part of this is doing everything from your cell phone. So that is a really big thing. A lot of us don't even have a desktop. We don't have a nice computer. Maybe your kids are using your computer all the time now to go on their Zoom classes, whatever it is. You can start this entire business on your cell phone. And I know I said that a few times in this webinar already, but that's just so important to know that you don't need anything else except the cell phone, some clothing, you're good to go. I do see some questions coming in, so I'll go ahead and grab a couple of them. Emily asked, do you notice a difference in sales with prices ending in 9 versus 149 versus 150? Okay, I worked in retail for a really long time. I was actually a buyer for a boutique children's store, so I would go to shows. It's a whole thing, and you kind of learn these psychological tricks So when someone sees something for $149, they don't look at it as $150. They look at it as like $140, right? That extra $1 can like make or break. The other thing, the other trick with that is when you are filtering on Poshmark to shop, there is a little option, and I want to show you guys this because this is kind of like a big insider tip, right? When you're sharing or when you're shopping on Poshmark. So look at this. This is right here. So let's say I was shopping for a DKNY item, and I could also filter by price. So I could filter from 50 to 100. And so if my item is $99, it's going to get into this. But if it is like 100, I believe it's going to be in either one of these, but it's more likely to be in this one. So filtering by prices is something that you should be looking at and paying attention to when you're pricing. There's a whole psychological reasoning behind that. Okay, so then the other question here was, is there an option other than sharing to followers? Absolutely. When Poshmark has parties, and that's a complicated thing in and of itself. Again, you can check out my course for in detail about how the Poshmark parties work. You can also share to Poshmark parties. You can also share directly to other Poshers. So if you've had someone buy from you before, you have a lot of repeat customers and you know that customer likes XYZ, you've just listed this item that fits that criteria, you can share it directly to their dressing room essentially and be like, hey, I just got this new DKNY jacket in your size. I think you'll love it. It will look really good with those Paige jeans you just bought from me last week. And that's kind of a sales strategy. So there are a few options. Sharing to followers doesn't mean it's going to your followers. It just means it's going to go to the top of the brand list. Think of it like that. Followers don't really matter on Poshmark. Everyone is just kind of following everyone. So don't get caught up in those numbers. What is the best way to search for stock photos? I don't have time to go into that today, but mostly you're just going to be Googling the item and seeing if it pops up. There's like not a whole bunch of secrets there. It just takes time and learning brands and keywords. The best way to learn those keywords is Pinterest, honestly, has a ton of style guides that will kind of walk you through. So if you are getting stuck on the titles, you can go over to Pinterest and look for style guides, and there'll be some great resources there. Okay, so I hope that that is helpful and helps you guys. Is there any other questions that you guys have today about how to sell on Poshmark? There we go. Does the order items are listed in your closet matter? Candace, that's a great question. So Candace, no, it doesn't necessarily matter, and you can manipulate that by sharing. So the item that you shared last is going to be the item that pops up to the top of your closet. So that's the really great part about Poshmark is you really control everything. So no, it doesn't matter. People can search by just in your closet and you don't have control over that. But if you're sharing actively and you want to keep like all your winter jackets, because people are shopping for that right now, at the top of your closet, that's what you're going to do. That brings me to what to sell on Poshmark. That is, again, the next big question. So once you've kind of sold the items from your closet, what are you going to be shopping for? How do you know what to list on Poshmark? How does that work, right? And that is, again, the bottleneck for most people. That's where they get stuck. That's where they stop because they go to a place like a thrift store or they go to do what's called retail arbitrage. So shopping at places like Nordstrom Rack for discounts to resell, and they don't know what to buy. So think about seasons. Seasons are important. Right now, my top sellers are jeans and boots and sweaters. Not heavy, heavy jackets yet, but that fall range of clothing. Think about what you're seeing at Target when you go to the store. What are people buying? The other aspect to this is in January, I sell more swimsuits than any other month. And that is because people get Probably not this year. Let's be real. People get vacations for Christmas and they can't just go to Target and buy a swimsuit. So resellers have a great opportunity to offer them to people. So a lot of it is seasonality. The second thing is think about what's in fashion. Think about what people are wearing right now. If something is 7 to 10 years old, it's not quite like cool and retro, and it's no longer in style. So those are going to be harder items to sell unless it's a closet staple, like a black cardigan. A black cashmere cardigan never goes out of style. So you're going to be good with that. So think about that when you're listing and shopping for your items as well. You really want to be paying attention to seasonal items and then what's on trend. Poshmark is really great. They have something called a trend report that they put out on their blog. You can go over to the Poshmark blog and see what their top sellers actually are real time. And then if you're also not signed into Poshmark, and I will show you that screen as well, you will be able to see what is trending on their site. This is a little tip that a lot of people don't realize, but here we go. So I signed out of my Poshmark closet, and right here, it is everything that's actually selling, which is so fantastic, right? So this is your login, and I didn't even know that this existed for so long because it's totally hidden. Why would I scroll, right? Like, why would I ever scroll down? I just come here, I log in, I'm good to go. One day I accidentally scrolled and I was like, wait, what? So they actually have brand spotlights of what's selling on their site here. So the top selling brands this week are going to be on the site. What's actually trending? So NFL is trending. Obviously, football, I think, started again. Roots, paparazzi, NARS, Sorrel. So these are the items that are trending on their site, and they give you 25 of them. So fantastic. Popular collection. So Tory Burch Miller sandals. I know when I list those, I sell them within an hour for $100. They are super popular right now. And they update this, I believe, once a week. So make sure that you're going through and looking at this. It is really important. Let's see here. And then from here, you can also go to the different brands. So they do home, they do kids, and then men and women. And you can see what's actually selling. So what's selling in the home department this week? Here's all the different brands. And that is information that everyone should be using. And other than that, it's just time. So you'll start to learn once you've listed something and it sells in an hour, you're like, okay, obviously I should be buying more of those, but all of the information is out there for you. So don't get overwhelmed. Don't feel like you need to memorize. In the reselling world, we call them bolos. So be on the lookout. Don't feel like you need to like memorize some like be on the lookout brand. Just go with your gut, look things up, see what's actually trending, because although a brand is popular, if it's outdated or it's a style that no one loves, it's still not going to sell. I've had this conversation this morning about a brand, and someone said, hey, I have a dress by that brand. I've had it for a year, but it's not selling. But she has a style that's not as popular as the trending styles. So there is so much to it. Don't get focused on the brands. I would focus way more on the style than anything else. Carrie, that's a great question I see over in the chat. What's the difference between top selling brands and trending brands? Wouldn't the trending brands be the top selling ones? That's a great question. I would assume that trending is more of like what's actually being searched on the website, but I could be wrong. I don't know the exact metrics of this, but I think overall those 25 brands are things that you could definitely be searching for and learning more about. And once a week, I would just come in and search those brands. I see a question that says, what happens when you don't share? So going back to the sharing, kind of backtracking a little bit, what happens when we don't share? The commitment of sharing every day is a lot. If you aren't doing this full time, so if you aren't sharing, no one is seeing your items unless they're looking for the exact item. Correct. Yes, that is correct. You need to be sharing. And honestly, I have a closet of about 600 items. I can share the entire thing in 15 minutes. So the excuse that like I have a full-time job, I can't share the 50 items. I can't. If you can't take like 2 minutes of your day to share your closet, then you're not, it is what it is. You got to stop like with the excuses of I don't have time. There is a whole thing that I live by that's like, it's not about having time, it's what your priorities are. So you just have to prioritize it. It's just something you have to do. So don't get caught up in saying you don't have time. That's not true. We all have time. We all just have different priorities of how we use our time. So change that phrase to something like, I don't want to share my closet, and then see how that feels. So make sure, make some time. You can do it. I promise. I believe in you. Do I invest in researching what fashion bloggers are wearing? 1000%. If you go to my Instagram feed, I actually don't follow a lot of resellers. I follow way more like bloggers and fashion people. I'm not a fashionable person by any means. I'm a mom of 2 young kids. I mostly am wearing like yoga pants. I found this jacket in my inventory today, and I was like, look, I think that's like a trendy jacket. I should wear that for this webinar. But otherwise, you guys, like, I'm not a trendy person. I'm not that cool, but I do follow a lot of people, and I try to recognize what they're wearing. And the going back to saying that you couldn't do it, yeah, and I don't mean just like for someone specifically in the chat. I just hear that so much, and I hope that someone who is thinking I don't have enough time to share can realize like you do have that time to share. You just need to prioritize it and stop thinking that way, and it will be so much better. You're stalking my follow list. I should just make a list for everyone too of the people that I like to follow. The thing is, like, I literally just follow them for what they're wearing. I don't follow them for anything else. So, you know, hopefully there's no controversy there. That's always the trick, right? Anyway, back to Poshmark. Sorry, I'm easily distractible. If you follow me on my YouTube channel, you'll know that. Managing your inventory, that's a great question. I would say that you should get an inventory system, even if you're only having 20 items in your store. Start it now. Don't start it when you have 100 and you're overwhelmed. Start it from the very beginning. I have a full inventory system, and I actually, in my course, I go over 2 different ways that are essentially almost free ways to store your inventory. I use these free priority mail bags, and I put a number on them, and then I put them into, you know, the dollar IKEA bags, and that's how I store my inventory. So you saw on that listing that I built, it said like D14, so that would be IKEA bag D, and then envelope 14. That's it. You don't have to be complicated. I'm telling you guys, Poshmark in general there is almost no barrier to entry as far as cost of starting up your business. Shipping, yeah, I can talk about shipping a little bit. So once you sell something, obviously you need to ship it out to your customer in order to get paid. Poshmark is not going to be releasing your funds until you send the item, and the customer has 2 days to accept that item. So you got to get it shipped out as soon as possible. You technically have up to a week. Poshmark wants you to ship within 2 days, and communicate with your customer if something is going on. I'm in Oregon, we had some fires, and I couldn't ship for a few days because our air quality was hazardous. And so I just communicated with my customers. I wrote to them and I said, hey, I'm so sorry. I know this is taking a couple days to get out. This is XYZ. I'm happy to cancel the order if you can't wait for it, and just be upfront and honest with them about what's going on. But for the most part, you should be able to ship within 2 days, and you want to get that money, right? You want to get paid for your item. So I am not a fancy person. If you know me, you know that I do not want to spend money on extras. Like, you can get fancy and cute with your packaging. I use all of the free USPS packaging. And I don't put anything extra in there, because I feel like it's a little bit wasteful. I don't want to add more to our landfill. So like cute cards and stuff like that, that's great, but I'd rather offer my customer a better price and get it to them quickly. Those are the things that are important to me, and being as green as possible within my business. So you're not going to see a lot of fancy things for me. That's not for everyone, but that's just how I do it. So I use the free items, and you can go on USPS.com and you can order any of these. They have to be priority mail for you to be able to use them. But that is one of the best, another reason why Poshmark is one of the best places for people to get started is the shipping. So other websites, you have to do your own shipping. So you sell something and then you have to manage it. So you have to figure out, is this gonna be first class? Is this gonna be priority mail? How much is it gonna cost? Very overwhelming. So for someone who's starting out and wants it easy and basic, Poshmark is the way to go 100%. So when something sells, they send you in your email, you're going to get a nice little label. And that label is what you use. You put it on your package. You can schedule a pickup with your postman, put it by your front door, and off it goes. That's it. You don't have to think about it. So shipping on Poshmark is very, very simple. It is much simpler than any other platform out there. Buyers pay a flat fee of $7.11 right now. That can be adjusted, you know, if there's a hike in prices, but right now on today's date, it is $7.11. And buyers pay that. And there is, once the buyer has the item, they check it, they make sure that there's no flaws. They can't return it. So they can't return it if it doesn't fit, which is huge for clothing. So that is really some of the best reasons that Poshmark is the site to go for if you are selling secondhand clothing. You don't want to have to deal with a lot of returns. Poshmark doesn't make you return anything like other sites will. So once you sell it, you ship it out, you get your money. Unless, you know, you sent them a shoe the dog chewed on and you didn't disclose that, like, no, you can't have your money. You're going to get a return. But if you're honest and you're straightforward, everything is going to be okay and work out. Cameron, if you might need a printer, but you can also go to places like the library and print your things, right? There's options.
No, I know. It's just that's always the one thing is like we need to get in the printer for the labels.
But yeah, I think that wraps up most of what I have to tell you guys today, unless you have any other questions, or Cameron, you have anything that you think would be valuable?
Well, one thing that I'm a little bit curious about, could you maybe tell like a little bit more about what people are going to learn in depth in the course compared to, you know, the information you've shared really generously on the workshop today?
Oh yeah, I'm really bad at selling myself. Yes, so in the course, there is over 140 short videos. So they range between 2 to 10 minutes long, and they break it down. So what I tried to do is build an encyclopedia for you guys. So I thought about all the questions I've gotten over 5 years of building content around reselling, and I broke them down into short videos in my course. So the first section or module is going to be like how to get started and all the basics you need from there. And then there's multiple modules. Some of the favorite modules are things like selling strategies. So running sales in your closet, how to make more sales, different strategies that I use to improve my sales. There is sourcing strategies. So there's how to source at thrift stores and how to find liquidation, which is a huge thing in my industry that no one really wants to share, but that information is going to be there for you guys. And the other thing that it's going to be in there is a lot of like things that people get stuck on. So if you've had a customer who said they didn't get their item, what are you going to do? And I'm going to break all of that stuff down for you. So I really try to make reselling less scary for people. It really doesn't need to be scary. And I have all of the answers packed into this course. It is very insightful. And I think that you're going to walk away feeling like you can do this. And if you do get stuck, you're going to be able to go back to my encyclopedia and find all of the answers right there. And Cameron does have, the course is $50, and he has a link to it. It's discounted. It will be going back up to 100 if you don't buy it through the discovery page. So I appreciate that, Cameron. I hope that this was insightful and useful for you guys today.
Yep. And for everyone watching the live, there should be a button right above the video to grab that course. And if you're tuning in on the replay, you should see a link in your email right now that you can use to get that discounted price. So what I would love, it seems like we're about to wrap up, and Nicole has shared so generously with us. So one thing that I would love if in the chat we could just say thank you to Nicole for joining us today, and again sharing so generously, her ideas, her knowledge, all her experience. You can already see people in the chat who are like, I'm in the course, I really like it, like the course is amazing. So I would really encourage you to check it out, and we do back that with a money back guarantee. So I would strongly recommend checking it out. Don't really have much to lose. And Nicole, I think you're seeing people in the chat, all the thank yous coming in.
Thank you
Everyone's,
guys
thank
so
you so
much.
much.
That makes me
And
feel so much. Yeah, my core business value is to add value in everything I do. So if you don't find value in the course, like, let me know. There's no hard feelings. It's okay. I will always offer like your money back.
and any kind of last words, or where can folks find you after this, or to follow up, where can they find you?
Yeah, I have a YouTube channel that's very exciting, and I do a lot of like thrift with me and informational videos. It's just Nicole State, and it's the same for Instagram. I probably overpost there, but you can go to it's nicole.state for Instagram, and that is about it. And then of course my Poshmark closet, which is Nicole State. So just Nicole State everywhere.
All right. And on that note, it's about time for us to wrap this up. So thank you so much to everyone for joining us. Thanks to Nicole for an incredible presentation, and hope to see you all in the course on the other side. All right. Take care, everyone.